Alright, today we are doing the TacCon trigger install. You will need a 3/16 inch hex driver, a non-marring hammer, and a brass punch. In order to do this, you will be removing the hammer pin, trigger pin, and selector. The first thing you need to do is take a piece of tape or something, place it under the lower, right in front of, or right below the hammer pin, so that the center of the tape is, the open center of the tape is right below the hammer pin, so that you will not be driving the pin into the table, and you can just sit here and drive it right out. Once you get it to this point, you need to hold the hammer back to relieve spring tension, finish removing the pin, remove your punch from this side, and let the hammer come on out. With the hammer out, just set it to the side. Now you'll want to move on to the trigger. The trigger works the same way. Just line the center of the tape up with the trigger pin. Drive that pin out with your punch. Grab hold, pull the pin out, and remove your punch. And the trigger falls right out. Set that to the side. Now, at the bottom of the grip here, there is a hex screw that you'll need to remove. You do that using your 3/16 inch hex driver. You just reach down in there, get it started, and just turn it out. I'm having a hard time doing this because I'm trying to make sure what's going on can be seen by the camera at the same time, but and you just keep this out until you finally get the screw completely loosed so that it's not holding anything. Just pull easily on the grip. You don't want to lose the selector detent spring or the selector detent when you do this. That was the spring and this is the detent. Now the selector should fall right out. With that done, you have the lower disassembled to the point that you need to take it to install the TacCon trigger. Now the way you install the TacCon trigger is a little different. First you take and set the entire trigger assembly inside the gun. Then you take your selector, pull back on the trigger, the opposite of what you would do if you were attempting to pull the trigger to fire the gun. Slide the selector in. Now you can release that. Now you can either put the grip on and finish assembling that, or you can start with the trigger. I like to start with the trigger and get the trigger pinned. The way you do this is you take and TacCon gives you 2 new pins to use in the trigger. The way you do this is reverse of driving them out. You line the trigger assembly up and just push the pins through. Once that's done, you turn the gun upside down like this. Take the selector detent, slide it into the selector detent hole. Make sure everything's in good. Take and put the selector detent spring in the matching hole in the grip. Turn the grip like so, and just ease it right on. that done, you take the screw, put it on the end of your hex driver, lower the screw down, until you get it lined up with the hole at the bottom of the grip, and then just tighten that screw in. Once that's done, you have the selector should now go to the third mode. You want to verify safety by holding the hammer back and attempting to pull the trigger. The hammer shouldn't fall. Then you want to test to make sure the hammer does fall when the selector is on semi-auto and when it's on third mode. Once you've done that, you have the TacCon trigger installed.